Greetings, citizens of the world, we are anonymous. Government of the United Kingdom, it has come to our attention that despite our continued warnings, you have decided to disregard our requests to assist the people of this country and have persisted in running a system which only benefits yourselves and the giant corporate bodies operating here. We have asked politely on many occasions that you change your attitude towards leadership, that you serve the country rather than control it, that you maintain the rights and freedoms of citizens. Instead, you have decided to impose worsening austerity measures upon the people of the UK, increasing taxes for citizens and small businesses, making cuts to our National Health Service.
What was that?
Crisis is to make cuts, and have made this humorous joke of we are all in this together while simultaneously giving tax breaks to the wealthy corporations, enormous bonuses to the bankers who are responsible for the financial crisis in our country, and attempts at increasing your own wages. You have created a system which ensures the poor remain poor, and the wealthy remain wealthy. You continue to infringe on access to our private and confidential information. It is now very clear to us that you have no intention of running the country for our people, but you will continue to run it to benefit yourselves. This system has failed us. We now have homeless people dying on the streets this winter, people unable to support their families. People can no longer afford their education. You keep the elderly in work for much longer, keeping jobs and opportunities for younger people out of reach. The number of unemployed has skyrocketed. In response, you force those on benefits into unpaid labor, doing more hours unpaid than those who are properly employed. You add insult to injury. We say enough is enough. To the UK government, you have made an enemy of Anonymous. You have angered us considerably, and we pose a significant threat to you. You disregard the requests of the people, and continue to operate for your own selfish gain. Anonymous is not a small group of powerless people to ignore. We are an organized, globally active collective of like-minded individuals, and our message is clear. We declare war on this current system you have imposed on us. Your worst enemy is now your own people. The revolution has begun. We are anonymous. We are legion. We do not forgive. We do not forget. Expect us.
Well, is that Sky News?
Nope.
What was Sky News? I didn't hear it. What, that broadcast thing? That was Betty.
Oh, it's you, is it? I thought, oh, it must be something interesting if Sky News are broadcasting it out. It must be slightly more serious.
I have no idea. You control Betty, not me.
That's why I was talking to Mike.
There you go then. Do apologise.
That was, I think it was a February announcement from Anonymous to the UK government.
A bit late, isn't it? February last year.
Yeah. Well, it is. I've just been going through Anonymous videos this morning. And I thought, you know what, I think that'd be really cool if I can get one of those announcements on Betty, just randomly, just like drops in and starts coming out with the Anonymous propaganda. So yeah, it was the only one that I could find that was actually relevant to the UK.
And what have they done since February?
They did lots of stuff anonymously.
Ah, I'll explain why I didn't hear about it.
So many anonymous videos on YouTube as well. You go onto YouTube and look up like the anonymous videos. There's actually so many that you can't kind of work out whether or not it's real. There was one of them where like Anonymous apparently hacked Fox News, but it was just like, it's the video, it's just so weird the way they've done it. I can't work out whether some of them are real or not.
No, well that's kind of the impression I got. It's kind of a... Well, the impression I get is that they release a video, get people excited, then kind of hope that a group of hackers does something about it. And sometimes they do and sometimes they don't, you know?
Well, I just watched like a 2-hour documentary on hacktivism, LulzSec, all of them, Anonymous, even back to WikiLeaks, which is pretty cool. And like the way that he describes it is, alright, and it is true. What they do is they throw an idea out there, alright? This is a hacker think box. Originates from that 4chan website. So it's a hacker think box, and basically what they do is they sit there and someone will actually speak up and say, this is what I actually believe is causing a bit of an issue at the moment. And the way anonymous work is if you feel that way against that cause, then you contribute towards the cause. If you don't necessarily feel that way about it, it doesn't necessarily mean to say you're not part of Anonymous. It just means to say that you don't necessarily agree as strongly on that subject as others. And that's where they then sit there and say, well, if you are interested in that subject and you do feel strongly against it, then join us. But yeah, not everyone joins in.
So it's like a big media corporation.
I'm actually really pro Anonymous. I think they do great things. I really do. It's freedom of speech for the internet, and that's basically what it's all about. You know, you don't mess with the internet. The internet is built by us. It's the people's creation, you know. It's not the government's creation. So why should the government be allowed to basically say what we can and can't do? Freedom of speech, basically. There was one part about the Swiss banks. Well, the Swiss banks can keep all their accounts anonymous. They don't have to submit anything about it. And it's the same with the details of these bank accounts, who they belong to. They don't have to say anything. And if we're allowed to have a Swiss bank operating in London, United Kingdom, with that kind of anonymity, and we're not even allowed to say what we want online, you know, why? Because the government say so?
Very good point.
Yeah, the UK is absolutely terrible. I don't think we really realise how bad it is, going about daily lives and stuff. I only kind of realised how locked down we are as a country when I started playing around with Bitcoin and tried to move money in and out of the country and move it about. Wow, that's difficult. That is so difficult. And the control the banks have is quite surprising when you start trying to move money about and do bits and pieces. It's quite scary. Add to it this new number plate recognition and the way they're working the card tax system and all that stuff now as well. It's awful. It's just too much. And I don't know how it will benefit anyone at all, apart from people just being able to watch people.
Well, the perfect example, the perfect example about how governments are so controlling over our internet is the Egypt. In Egypt, when we had all of these street protests and mass riots all breaking out, and you had Iraq, who, it was like they didn't want anyone on the outside world knowing what was actually going on the ground in Egypt. All right, it's a bit like North Korea. You know, it's all a big front. No information leaves North Korea. No information comes into North Korea unless they say it's allowed. You know, it's the government basically saying, no, what are you doing? Yes, you're protesting, but why are you sending this to America? Why? Because we feel quite strongly about it, and it's on a social network, and I'm entitled to do so. It's freedom of speech. I'm explaining what I'm experiencing during this protest. So Iraq shuts down the internet for the whole of Egypt. You can actually go online and you can see the traffic graph going in and out of Egypt, and then it just drops. Bang. Gone. See you later. And that's the kind of control that the government want to have over the internet. If they don't like something, or I'm posting something about what I feel quite strongly against the government, they're going to try and do everything in their power to try and stop me from doing that. And that's where Anonymous come in. They were sending information to Egypt on how to battle and get rid of this gas that they was throwing into the crowds, and VPNs and proxy servers, so they can actually get on the internet without Iraq knowing about it and blocking them. You know, that kind of actions from the government just kind of shows how controlling they really do want to be. Yeah, okay, we're the English government and we're not necessarily that blatant about it, but that's not to say that they wish that they had more control over us.
Oh, I think they want to control us a lot. Finance mainly, business, restrictions. That's kind of what they want to manage and keep control of that. But yeah, no, I totally agree. It's a very, very powerful tool, and hopefully the more the internet starts breaking away into a publicly made one, be it Wi-Fi or whatever, the better, really, to release that sort of ability for anyone to shut it down and control communication. Which is happening quite fast now. There's some new apps and some new tools out there which are looking really impressive. And new methods of creating an independent layered internet, which is kind of cool. Hopefully we'll start seeing the benefits of that later on in this year.
Yes. We do. We have to kind of sort out this anonymity online. You do have the flip coin, all right? You do have the flip coin, and that is this paedophilia, trolling, terrorism, you know. But they try and put everything into that category, all right? We have to manage the internet to stop paedophilia, terrorism, and trolling. No. You want control over the internet because you want full control over what people are actually doing and saying and how they manage their money and whether or not they do deal in bitcoins or whether or not they are actually evading a little bit of tax. That's what you want control over, but you're actually hiding behind the fact that we had a bus blown up in London.
Yeah, well, a classic example of that is CCTV cameras, isn't it? The majority of them are looking at bank cash machines rather than sort of surveying the streets and what's going on. They're all locked onto the banks. Yeah, it's pretty damn crazy, isn't it? Pretty damn crazy. Something I was going to add to that, I've forgotten what it was. It's gone out of my mind. But yeah, I mean, the more it's sort of independent and they've got control of it. The paedophiles and stuff, you know, that's been going on for years and years and years. All right, they're using the internet, but they're easily spotted, aren't they? You can see them. Did you see that picture of Stephen Fry and his husband yesterday?
No.
Look up Stephen Fry getting married on Google and tell me what you think of that. Because I don't know, every person I've seen who's a bit wonky, I don't know, they tend to scream at you. A bit like Rolf Harris. I was always a little bit suspicious of him. I don't know. I think you know what I'm getting at anyway. I don't think that they're that easily hidden. To the point, I reckon it could possibly be a DNA thing. you could probably spot there's a genetic fault there.
Do you know what? A mate of mine's got a kid. He's 7 now. And from birth, you kind of knew that this kid is going to be gay. And even now, he's still showing the telltale signs that he's so gay. It's unbelievable. And I've actually got a £100 bet that by the time that boy is 21, he will actually come out and say he's gay. It is very easy to spot, and I do actually believe that it's in the blood. You know, you're born like it. Yeah. Some people are born and like the colour blue. Other people are born and like men, if you're a man, or a woman if you're a woman. It's just, I think it's just something that you're born with, really.
Yeah. No, I kind of agree. Look at Eminem. I'm sure it's a genetic. Well, it's got to be in it. It's all genetics at the end of the day. Chemical reactions, genetics. But same. My next door neighbour. They had 3 kids when I was growing up, and one of them, even from the age of 3 or 4, just the way he talks and his mannerisms and everything else was just slightly more feminine than his brother. You know, we were sort of saying at his age of sort of 3 and 4 that he looks like he's going to be a poofter.
Well, boys and girls go the other way, don't they? Boys start acting like little girls, and little girls start acting like butch men. Yeah, it's weird the way it goes.
What annoys me though is like his brother has now got a wife, a kid, living in a council house, and him. He's living in a penthouse flat in Brighton with a banker and regularly flying all over the world. It's just like, wow. The gays have got it right. You know, there's a lot to be said for it.
I really don't know what you're on about, you two.
Oh, well, if I didn't know better.
Oh, well, did you look up Stephen Fry? Look up Stephen Fry and his husband. Tell me there's just something not going on there, something a bit wrong.
Well, I've always thought he was a bit of a strange person. When I see him at bloody hell, can't even think, it was Catford. What a weird place. He was strange then.
Well, we were talking about the internet and stuff, and the excuses the government use for keeping control of the internet and a lot, you know, and managing it and wanting the ability to track and trace people and whatever else. And the things they always use are the things which hit people the hardest, like paedophilia and things like that. And then they're sort of saying, well, I don't think it's that much of a risk, because I think the majority of them, there's a genetic issue there, and you can usually spot them a mile off.
God, not many. You can just tell them, can't you? It's like the not got nothing against gay people at all, but it's like the gay fellas. You look at their trunk and their bodies, they're normally, I don't know why, I don't know if you noticed it, they're longer. That sounds crazy, but most of them are. Another gay pointed that out to me, who used to live in this block here, but he's buggered off now.
Oh, his fella's only 27, half his age apparently. Wow. And his partner's name is called Elliot Spencer.
Yeah, well, that's a gay name, isn't it? I've never heard one. Maybe that's it. Maybe it's the names. Maybe it's the parents' fault. You know, maybe there's a lot to be said for naming children. You know, give them the wrong name and that's it. You've set them up for life.
Yeah, well, I'm gonna go for a name like Butch or John Wayne Jr. or something. Anything but Elliot. It's like Billy Elliot. I call him Billy Elliot. You know, my mate, he does judo, but he just prances around like he's Billy Elliot on the dance. I'll take the nick out of him. What are we so gay for, dancing around like Billy Elliot on a mat? Throw him around, you know. And then Spencer, well, that just brings in old Spence. Oh, hello, Spencer.
Hello, Butch. Yeah, they do though, don't they? And lesbians. I don't get the male lesbian. What is all that about? You know, if they're so into women, why do they want to look like men? How did that happen?
Or Ashley. 90% of Ashleys are...
Right. See, the thing is I happen to live with the Butch lesbian. And do you know what? I'm like, although she's more of the man of the relationship, she does dress a little bit feminine, but she's still the boy. She goes out and plays football on the weekend and all sorts, you know. Although she don't dress like a boy every time, she still likes her jogging bottoms and a pair of trainers. But yeah, it's I don't know. It's so weird. It's so weird. But yeah, you have always got. I've got another friend of mine on Facebook. And like, I'll be honest, she used to be like the sexual buddy that you used to go to whenever you was feeling a bit down. And now she's like a lesbian, but the bird that she's with, wow, that one wears the trousers in the relationship, I can tell you that.
Yeah. Oh, it's genetics, isn't it? I mean, look at the fish. There's fish which can change sex. Have you seen them? They get like a school of fish and then they have one male and like he dominates the group. And then like one day, one of the female in the group kind of like steps up and they immediately become male and then they start dominating the group. How weird is that? You know, maybe if the wheel's there, we could all just change.
Well, yeah, I could probably do with a little change. Well, the fish are a little bit weirder, aren't they? You got the lobster story. Have you heard about the dual-coloured lobster? So you'll have like a lobster, one side of it will be completely one colour, and then you'll have a dead straight line right down the middle of the lobster's back, and it'll be a different colour. The same happens with the lobster's sex, all right? Basically what it is during birth and it lays its eggs. It's the same way as twins. What happens is an egg splits. With the lobster, the egg splits, but it's very, very common that where it actually separates between the two sexes, male and female, they actually get both. So one side of the lobster will actually have a male organ, and the other side will actually have the female organ. And believe me, they both still work, which is really weird. Lobsters.
Lobsters, who knew, eh? Yeah. Well, it just goes to show, doesn't it? And then also there's that thing about the, what is it, the pill. And the amount of estrogen and everything which is going into our water system. They've even noticed it in a lot of fish, haven't they? That it's been causing problems because of the high levels of estrogen being flushed down the loo due to the pill and everything, and that's having environmental factors. So, I don't know, maybe it's just it's human nature. I wondered if it's an overpopulation thing, but I don't know if there's many sort of gay Chinese or Japanese. Because I always kind of thought, well, maybe it's because where people have started living so close together, your body kind of picks up on like overpopulation, and then it starts producing sort of more of the same chromosomes or anything, and makes people fancy the same sex, just to sort of cut down on that population.
I've always liked something called the Chernobyl effect. 1986, the Chernobyl disaster. Nuclear power plant set on fire, had a massive explosion, leaked radiation for miles and miles and miles and miles and miles. Chernobyl is just a derelict land. Anyway, for years and years and years and years afterwards, even today, there is still kids being born with defects, which they are actually blaming on the radiation being passed down from generation to generation, basically, where one generation will actually have a birth defect caused by radiation, and then their kids will then transfer that defect onto the other kids, and then the next thing you know, you end up with some other mongrel in the relationship with another defect, and you end up with some weird kids. Would it surprise me if radiation was actually a cause of a lot of weird happenings with the human body? Cancer, gayness, mood swings.
I wonder if there's high radiation levels in Cumbria.
Oh, without a doubt.
It definitely is in Canberra Sands. You have two headed fish there.
People walking around on the beach with 3 willies. And they're like Cornwall and Newquay as well. High levels of radiation in the rocks, in the bedrock, natural ground radiation, which was also shown to cause problems. I think they're just starting to link cancer as well, aren't they, to a genetic defect. And they also say that due to radiation, what else? Oh, watch, luminescence on watches and anything like that, anything that pulsates causes a mutation in your genes, and then that can span generations.
Be interesting to know whether or not Hull has a nuclear power plant. That would probably explain a few things. Yeah, well, genetic mutations, it's possible. Maybe the Germans had it right from the beginning, you know.
Morning, people. Oh, sorry, good afternoon.
Dungeness definitely it's got something funny going on around there. Honestly, you should see the size of the cod around the power plant there.
I think Hull's probably more of a dumping ground than afternoon, Gary.
Yeah, well, I think the radiation is so weird. So weird. It's a bit like the livestock in Chernobyl. And like the defects that the livestock was starting to get was actually amazing. Because Chernobyl was an absolute no-go area. Although the Russians were still sending in like people knowing that they're likely to die and that, not actually telling the people that are trying to repair this nuclear power plant. And yeah, they were sending them in, you know, oh, you got 14 minutes on that roof, and then you've got to come back in. And then they discovered lead helps. Yeah, there was loads. It's really weird, but the livestock were pretty much untouched. Even flying a helicopter over the local area, the pilots and stuff were feeling sick within minutes. Absolutely amazing. But the livestock was just disgusting, like ears and that was all misformed on this livestock's body, and also, oh, it was so weird.
Isn't that where Anne Widdecombe came from? And she developed from that some sort of radiation soup. Have you ever watched the Mark Thomas comedy product? If you'd sit in front of YouTube, look up Mark Thomas comedy product, nuclear train, and it was a train which carries nuclear waste across country and everything, and he went down to investigate it. If you haven't seen Mark Thomas, check out his shows. They're hilarious. Pretty old now, but he's still going strong. Yeah, and they went down and used Geiger counters and picked up radiation around the railway track, which runs across farmland and across the UK countryside. And at points, the driver has to stop the train, right? So he's in charge of all this nuclear waste, and the driver had to stop the train, get out of the train to open gates to get himself across farmers' fields and stuff. How bad is that? But yeah, if you get a chance, it's well worth watching. Mark Thomas comedy product, and it's the nuclear train.
Break, please.
Don't say break, you was already in. Come on back in, mate.
Hello, Pike. You just touched on a subject I looked at a couple of days ago. Actually, it was Saturday. They sent me a link. Drones, amazing view over Chernobyl, Ghost City. It's www. blah blah blah. It's techdrive.uk/drones. Amazing view of Chernobyl, Ghost City. If you watch that video, it's a guy using drones to fly all around the area, and I was like, that's nuts. But there's people walking around there. I know they've opened it up and that. But if you click on the link further down, it takes you to Google Maps view, and they've actually Google mapped it from 2012, and I was like, that's wrong. There's people walking around, people driving like a tractor towing something. And I was like, it's active. But all the trees everywhere are perfect, all overgrown, so obviously hasn't been touched for years. You can walk around there, but you've actually Google mapped it, and I was like, hey, what the hell? You can actually go on foot, Street View, and walk around the place. I was like, that's wrong.
Well, Chernobyl has actually been open for tourists not so long now, I believe, or maybe that was North Korea. Damn, it's gone. Sorry, ignore that last comment. I'm pretty sure that Chernobyl they had opened, and you could actually tour Chernobyl.
Sod that, I wouldn't be walking around that place. But yeah, there's a guy, I've got friends who build and do drones and that, the little the quad helicopter things. He's using one of them with a camera on to fly over the lot and take pictures. So maybe you won't go far in. He doesn't trust it, but other people are just walking around and stuff. But Google Maps just take you right round the border. It was done in 2012, but they haven't gone in. So maybe they know something better than the tourists do. But put it in Google Maps and stick your little man on the map and have a look. I was quite amazed, thinking, hang on a minute, is that still not safe?
It's actually worth investigating. I'm going to have to clarify that because you got my brain going now. But I will clarify that. But absolutely amazing, that Chernobyl. Do you know that could have been a lot worse? We could have pretty much wiped out half of Europe.
Yeah. Well, go to that link I just said. It's HTTP, thing like that. It's techdrive. Hang on, just look here. It's techdrive.uk/drones, amazing, view, Chernobyl, ghost, city, /. Now that'll take you straight to a website. Actually, it shows you a lot of amazing, weird stuff. But that was on there. My mate said, look at this link, what they're flying. And the camera view and all that. But I went further and went on to the bottom of it, but it shows you all pictures and still images of it. But I clicked on the Google Map part and went, hang on. Dropped the man on the map, and I thought, nah, you can't drive around it, but you can drive right, you can walk right round it. So the Google Map round, but there's roads that lead into it, but you can't walk down it. So obviously the heavens are over up there to Google Map it for common sense, because I wouldn't if I was sitting in a car driving around the place. But you can go right round it. When you go right round, there's people going past their own business, but you see people in there and stuff. And I was like, that's wrong. There is a...
Wasn't it, Top Gear did a thing about Chernobyl? Wasn't it at Chernobyl or was that the place? That was the time after they had this tsunami thing, and it disrupted the chemical plant. Is that Chernobyl? I can't remember. But yeah, Jeremy Clarkson drove through it, didn't he?
I thought that tsunami, or the surge of water, or whatever it was, wasn't that not an Asian company? Japan, China, somewhere, Tokyo maybe, somewhere in Asia, and they had a power plant right on the coast, and it pretty much took the brunt of the wave. I'm pretty sure that was in Asia.
Yeah, it was. It was in Japan, Asia, that way. Because they also took out the biggest manufacturer company of Western Digital hard drives. So the price of hard drives quadrupled in price, Western Digital, because the main big factory for them got wiped out and had to start again. So at the time I had a terabyte Western Digital Black Edition. I only paid something like 80 quid for it from a computer shop. And when it went faulty, I went back after that happened. It was before that happened at a tsunami. I bought it about a month before. When I went back about a month later, the price had gone to like 180 quid for the same hard drive. And I was like, wow, what's happened there? He said the main factory got wiped out, so all the hard drive prices went straight through the roof. But that's another story. I made a few quid out of that, collecting the old Sky boxes and the Virgin boxes and ripping the hard drives out of them and selling them on eBay for a fortune.
Tut, 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 making money out of someone else's misfortune. Fair play to you. Yeah, there was another blue chip company that made memory modules that just sent prices of memory sticks skyrocketing. Who was that? That might have been Crucial or someone, I can't remember. But yeah, one of the large RAM manufacturers got hit as well. Big blue chip company they were. Absolutely amazing. But they were really lucky as well with that nuclear power plant, got hit by the tsunami. That could have turned out to be really nasty. It kind of makes you realise that this nuclear energy isn't as safe as what people make out it is. Yeah, okay, there's a lot of stringent procedures in place, but you can't control Mother Nature. And when Mother Nature goes wrong and she starts playing around with these nuclear power plants, you could pretty much wipe out one of the continents.
Makes you think, innit? Everything's man-made. When all goes wrong, it's Mother Nature.
Yeah, well, what Mother Nature is one of the most unpredictable things in the world. You know, you get people that study in universities, colleges, visit space stations, trying to analyse this weather and predict it, and they just can't get it right. Look at Michael Fish.
Like the saying, in Mother Nature, so it's like, as in going towards the old, well, Mother Nature, they can't say it's female, isn't it? It's Mother Nature. Women are unpredictable. I ain't joking, but man-made stuff seems to be alright.
It'd be interesting to find out how many nuclear power plants we actually have, and exactly where they're located.
Seriously, go to that site I give you. That is a crack. You'll enjoy that. You will enjoy that. As I say, you can go and view images and everything from 2012 of everything there, and then go and walk around the place. You can't get in there, but you'll see the board around it. There's nothing stopping you from just walking in there. But what makes me think, obviously it's a ghost town. If you go and look at it properly, where's all the metal gone? Majority of the metal's gone, so when's that been scrapped and weighed in? And when did that happen? Because it's all concrete buildings, no metal. But there's one picture of one room, and the floors are about a foot deep in just gas masks, hundreds and hundreds of them. So that was a picture from inside. That just tells its own story, doesn't it?
Well, the thing is with metals, it's a bit like if you stick an old classic car in the garage and leave it exposed to the elements, it's eventually just going to corrode and rust and just end up with a big hole in it. Mix that with a cocktail of severe radiation and an untouched landscape for a number of years, then yeah, who knows what happened with that metal. That, or you got some crazy Russian and thought, yeah, do you know what? I could take advantage of this. It's probably dead now.
No, but even like stuff like girders in buildings, I don't care what you say. If they've got a girder in a building that big, there's a lot of metal to rust through and that long. But there's cars there. If you go and look, there's cars still left there. And you can make out there's still cars rusted and that. So some metals out there have just being left, like cars and stuff. You can see they're rusted away. So where's all the girders and stuff gone? I think they're a lot thicker and a lot better steel. It lasts a lot longer. They've all gone on, like, that's strange. Where have they gone? So someone's been in there weighing it all in.
Right, I'm just briefly, I've seen this video before. I've seen this video. There's the Ferris wheel. I have seen this video.
Perfect scenario. Why is the Ferris wheel still there then? Do you know what I mean? Obviously you can't just take that away on the back of a wagon, can you, weigh it in? If you look at the pictures on, not even the parts you sit in, the metal, okay, they're in good condition, like, but that's still there. But you look into it, where's all the girders in the buildings gone and stuff? The main steel and stuff, so someone's been in and ripped it all out, definitely. But after you looked at that video, I think it took you to the main site. Go down the bottom or on that video, you'll see a link to Google Maps. And drop your man on the map and have a walk around. I went in by the view above, and then dropped the man down, and I went, oh, you can get in here. So I had a little half an hour or so walking around, and I thought, that's crazy. People just pottering around. There's even cars drove in there, people sitting in them. I'm like, no thank you, I wouldn't be in there, please.
Yeah, well, it's the world's biggest affordable housing scheme, isn't it?
Yeah, if you look at the zone, he keeps going over one building, and I remember, right, the signs fell up, which that's kept up with steel, for the actual wording on the sign. So why isn't that washed away? It just makes you think certain things, metal is still there, blatant to see, but a lot of it ain't there. So I was just puzzled with that one.
If anything, it just proves that pikeys are worldwide.
Oh, yeah, good point. Indeed.
I just thought my car's not made out of metal that come from there. But on the last note, when I first logged into the program, I heard you saying about fish, cod and stuff and all that. I always thought it affect things that grow, but all the vegetation and trees there seems to thrive. I thought all that. I've never looked into none of this. I always thought that would be a wasteland and nothing can grow. So there's quite a lot of trees there that have really grown, so I'm surprised at that. That's something I've not looked into, and I thought it would be just wasteland and nothing at all. But the vegetation seems to thrive.
Well, yeah, it's certainly blossoming. You would expect it to be just completely overgrown. Everything overgrown. But like the grass is relatively short. The bushes aren't massively all over the place. Makes you wonder. It does make you wonder whether or not there is people actually there somewhere in like severe radiation suits underground somewhere. That'd be the perfect place for a government underground layer, I think.
Yeah, but look at the trees. Obviously, you know when a tree grows, and how big it gets to at a certain age. But look at all the trees around there, even on that video, where he's flying them over. Look at the size of the trees. Now, they're a good few years, good few years old. In fact, some of the trees are actually higher than the buildings. So they've lasted from day one. They've been there day one and just grown. So they haven't been affected, and they looked at everywhere. So that was what got me. But I noticed that some of the grass is short now. I'm like, people farm? I think people are still farming on there. Because if you go on Google Maps, drop the little man on it, right? When you walk down one of the roads, it's right in front of it. You'll see a fella in a tractor. You can see the picture, like the fumes coming out of his thing, and he's pulling something. Now I don't know what he's pulling, which is a bit weird. I go shooting on farms and stuff. And I haven't got a clue. It's like some sort of massive tanker or something he's pulling, but I don't know what it is. So they're still farming around there and on there. That I figured out. because I say it was a tractor. But it's just, that's the best thing to street view it. Go and street view it and walk around, and you'll see people in cars, and you'll be like, wow. You'll be just blown away how crazy they are, because I wouldn't near it.
Didn't they find moss and stuff growing on the reactors at Chernobyl, which took them by surprise on the reactor core? They actually found life growing around the radiation.
That answers your question. You know what? It probably makes stuff grow better. Like the best fertilizer you can get.
I was actually underneath that same impression, that trees, shrubbery, anything green, moss, algae, eats things like radiation that's airborne. Turns it back into oxygen, maybe.
Well, it would explain a lot, doesn't it?
Oh yeah, photo thing, yeah, well, I know what you mean, yeah. Well, what we breathe out, the trees breathe in, what they breathe out, we breathe in. Which is good. So obviously they must do something. That's the point, so I'm not checked. How long has that been since that disaster happened? How long is it now?
1986.
I was thinking it was nearly 30 years almost. So 30 years and you can walk around there. Seems a very short time, doesn't it?
Yeah, but isn't that the rough time it takes for radiation to kind of go anyway? It's about 30 odd years. I can't remember. I'm going to have to go and get my laptop and start Googling.
You know what? I thought it was 50 or 100 years until it's safe to even be like living there again. I'm sure when that tsunami went at that place, he said for at least 100 years you can't go near it without protection. And that's what got me thinking when I seen this only the other day, and I thought, hang on a minute, I'm sure it's 150 or 100 years before you can even walk around there unprotected. So I was puzzled on that one.
Yep, well, Google's my friend, and I'm about to find out what's going on. I shall tell you in one moment.
It'd be interesting to know with Google Maps, when they actually mapped that place, what did they do to the vehicle after they used it? I bet that got scrapped. I bet that ain't getting used no more. And what was it like when it was the fellow who was sitting in the seat driving around the place Google and mapping it? Was he in a suit to protect himself? That'd be interesting to know. Email Google and say, how did you actually map that and what procedures did you use? That'd be interesting.
They probably had a remote control car.
I want to send the Queen out there. If she goes out there, then we'll know.
One thing I couldn't make out from looking up there from the drones and the actual the Google Maps and that, where is actually the power plant? Is that actually just totally gone and all you're seeing is the buildings that are left around it? Because that had me a bit puzzled.
Right, well the best one is what I found on Yahoo Answers. And the best answer is, it depends in which element you are interested in. Following the Japanese incident, where there were two main elements released to the air, Lodine 131, which is a 8-day half-life. So the half-life is basically how long it takes for that material to erode and eradicate itself, pretty much. So an 8-day half-life, after 3 months, it's then safe. Silesium 137 has a 32-year half-life, so it'll be around for a couple of 100 years. This means some areas may need cleaning up of Silesium 137. However, the radiation in a nuclear fuel itself can last for thousands of years. So yeah, you may be right. It may be right. So just one of the radiation elements, Silesium 137, has got a 32-year half-life. So that's pretty mental. So it'll still be around for a couple of 100 years. You're right. We're talking of hundreds of years, not tens of years.
Yeah, I was thinking that. Because I'm not really clued up on that. I don't take much notice, but when you hear stuff going off and you think, wow, that's mad, that, and they tell you when you can go near it again, and I'm thinking, wow, that's a long time, that. Yeah. So, that's not even 30 years, is it? Yeah. It's actually, what is it? 29 years. So the Google mapped it in 2012. So let me just do my maths. So there's 27 years now. So 27 years and people are walking around there. Nah, that can't be good. Cannot be good. That's surprising. The one on your last 8, was it 8, whatever you said, which that alone then rules that one out, because obviously no one's been there for a long time. So that's definitely a no-no, that, isn't it? So they've opened it up for people to walk around. I bet they've told some porkies there to make money out of it. While you're on Yahoo there, see how it affects vegetation, what the score with that is? Just out of curiosity, if you're still on, if you're still Googling Yahoo in it. I know I wouldn't mind comparing Google Maps view of before, satellite terrain, whatever, a picture of before and after. Obviously it's satellite, so they'll have all that. A before and after, and put it on an overlay to see what it looks like before and after, as in right now. To see what damage and how far it spreads anyway. That'd be interesting if you could do.
Right, they're actually slowly but surely reducing the size of the exclusion zone. An exclusion zone of 30 kilometres, which is 19 miles, only 19 miles, that's not a lot, remains in place today, although its shape has changed and its size has been expanded. So they're actually constantly monitoring the radiation levels in that area and increasing and decreasing the exclusion zone each time they test, basically, depending on what the radiation levels are like in certain areas, which is absolutely amazing. I still can't actually see when they actually expect the radiation to be completely eradicated. From what I can tell, they've not actually put any dates on it. They're just analysing it periodically or whatever. Yeah. It's still a big exclusion zone, but not as big as it used to be. 20 miles.
Well, that answers a lot of questions. When I walked around Google mapping it on foot, and like zoomed in further ahead and that, there is signs up that I was thinking, what are they about? And I think they are telling you now how many miles or, I don't know if it's in kilometres or whatever it is, from it. So there's warnings. There must have been like little guard posts at one time that moved them in and in and in, or out and out and out. So there's stuff like that. You probably see if you walk around, you'll trig what I mean. And I was puzzled at that, thinking, what are they meant to mean? Or I was a bit like, are they exclusion zones of like, you can't go past there, and I've reopened them ones and got closer and closer. But then when I actually walked around, I thought, well, Google Maps is Google Maps there. And going by the above view and looking at the centre of it, sort of thing, to where the roads are, it's very, very close. When I drove around it and map it, and I thought, that seems too close to me, if that was 2012. But if you look, there's people walking around there as if it's just nothing wrong, and I thought, wow, I'm amazed at that. I thought, maybe, yeah, the zone's one thing, that flies over, whatever, you're not allowed in there. Okay, Google Maps have only drove around so much, as you said, it could be in a remote control car. But to actually walk around on foot and follow the Google Maps, drop the little man and go on foot, there's people everywhere, in cars and all kinds, and I just thought, I didn't even know it was open, to be honest. I didn't know people were allowed even that close. Because when I entered the actual, the overhead view, and just seeing a big mess of buildings and that, and then as you put your mouse over roads, the highlighted, and I thought, well, that's where Google Maps are gone. So I actually sort of went round the perimeter of the road, where the roads were, and I thought, it's damn close, that, really close. So obviously they haven't gone right into Google Maps, because roads do go off to the left and to the right that go in there. You just can't, you can cliff on it, but it won't take you in it. You know what I mean by that. So I thought, they haven't Google Mapped at all, but they're damn close.
Okay, this might actually answer a few of your questions as well. After the disaster, 4 square kilometres of pine forest directly downwind of the reactor turned reddish brown and died, which earned the name the Red Forest.
Now that is crazy. But yeah, they've got trees and stuff growing in the middle of it that are matured at least over 20 years. There's trees in there that are at least 20 years old, and they're dotted all over it, in the centre, right everywhere. So that's a strange one, that. It might have been the first one. the least dangerous one. But just in case, they give it like a 27-year span, like 3 times whatever it is. I think you said 8 weeks or 8 months or 8 years. I heard the 8, but that just sort of baffled me. So I wanted to triple the time zone just to make sure it's safe-ish. So if that's the case, if it's the other site, you are talking like 300 years or something before they can go in there stuff. Well, especially the tsunami one anyway.
It's amazing what you can find on Wikipedia. This one goes back to something that Billy Boy said about fungi growing. After the effects of Chernobyl were expected to be seen for a further 100 years, although the severity of the effects declined over that period. Scientists report that this is due to radioactive cesium-137 isotopes being taken up by fungi, which is in turn eaten by sheep whilst grazing. In the United Kingdom, was forced to restrict the movement of ships from upland areas when radioactive cesium fell across parts of Northern Ireland, Wales, Scotland and Northern England. In the immediate aftermath of the disaster in 1986, they restricted movement of a lot of livestock. Not only that, the plants they grow on, they basically fed the sheep for a certain period of time on uncontaminated feed before slaughter during 2012. That's pretty recent. Wow. And Ireland's actually released that restriction. Since 2009, Ireland released the restrictions and are now importing sheep from that area. That's mental.
Oh, and you meant to trust the foods, right? That's blew me away. That you've all this horse meat scandal and all that. I wonder if they got a sheep scandal from around that area at the time. What went into the food chain and what actually didn't? Oh, I bet you that's opened a can of worms if you looked into that part of it. Livestock and what got it. Oh, well, that's put me right off lamb for a while. Was it Irish beef and Irish lamb and Scottish fish? Hang on a minute. That's scary.
Yeah, but it explains a lot.
Hang on, what was that sheepy, what was it, Dolly or something, one that died? But it was a clone or something. You sure that wasn't just pulled out of that field the day after?
Well, there's a picture of a mutation that occurred with a piglet with Dipyigus. That's pretty disturbing. I think it's got about 6 legs and it's proper deformed. It's not right. That's pretty much disgusting.
Have you seen the one where, I've seen a lot of that stuff like that. They give it, what was it? Was it a cow or a sheep or something? They change the DNA and they give it the DNA, what gives the spider its web. And out of its milk, it produced a web. I went, wow, that's scary. But one was a pig. They give it I think it was something out of a fish. Something that glows up in a jar, and they give it to a pig. And then the pig blew up. Every part of that pig was basically green. And I was like, that is nuts. So it just shows you when things are done like that. The spider one was funny. In the actual milk, I don't know if it was a sheep, a cow, whatever it was, but actually in the milk was 90% spider's web it produced. Because we were trying to look into it, because they reckon stronger than steel, don't they, you know, this, the scent of the spider's web, considering what it is, how they can mass produce it. And that was one thing I seen now, like that shocking that. But the glow up pig in the jar, that got me, that one. That was crazy.
Yeah, they must make condoms out of that nowadays.
That's funny there. Have you actually see that one? What was regarding the pig? He took the DNA out of something out of some animal out of the ocean that actually glows up green and modified it in a pig. And the pig blew up, everything, like down to its tongue and everything. I was like, that's crazy. That some stuff, I don't mind them messing around with stuff like that. That's for the science, but when you want to go too far with it, it's a bit scary.
Yeah. Yeah. Mind you, if it works on pigs, I wonder if it works on women.
Afternoon.
Oh.
You looking at disturbing things again? Don't you learn?
No, I'm from a disturbed background. I went to church as a younger kid.
Well, here's one for you. You said to put it in condoms, right? So you can see where you're putting it. As you said, then if it works on women, and the thing you said in the light off a woman just glows up, you wouldn't need to glow in a dark condom, would you?
So, apart from Chernobyl and the disaster in Japan after the tsunami, does anyone know of any known cases of nuclear power plants or severe radiation exposure, not including the Simpsons?
I'd say I wouldn't mind how Chernobyl though. Geiger counter, what's the scenario where that does not make a sound at all, or where it operates until the point where it does? How close that zone is to the zone you're allowed to actually walk around is though. If the two actually scenarios of that, data-wise, that'd be interesting to know, wouldn't it?
Well, radiation is everywhere. An old CRT monitor used to radiate slightly, but they were never actually at levels that could be damaging. Yeah, I think the sun used to carry more radiation down to the earth than anything else. Be interesting.
Saying that, isn't it fluorescent paint they use on the old clocks and stuff, and that usually put under the light to activate? Aren't they radiation, aren't they? That's not a very good substance to get on you.
Oh, it's all over the place. Did you know smoke detectors contain uranium?
Go on, another subject. I've got friends who are running cars off air bubblers, hydrogen cells off water. Now, I'll tell you what, that technology is amazing. It works out for a full tank of petrol or diesel. Well, petrol better, but you can have it on diesel as long as you put a spark plug source to ignite it. But those for your car is hydrogen. The oxygen doesn't even get used out of the water. That gets get rid of, believe it or not. But for a full tank of petrol, a quarter tank, you're saving on running a jam jar full of water. And a jam jar of water gives enough hydrogen to do a football stadium for good a lot of times. Well, that technology, I've got a friend who actually does it, drives around. There's a state in America somewhere, the police force, they've only got about 20 cars. They haven't got the money or the sources because they're that small. They've run all their cars on it, water. And all that comes out your exhaust to the car is water vapour, that's it. Now, why are they going down the route of battery cells for cars and that? Why don't you just go straight into that? One question, isn't it? The petrol and oil companies don't want you to. People have actually, YouTube all that, people have actually invented who got stuff and been hushed, and people are being killed regarding all that. But I've got a friend, I've got two friends actually who run the cars on it. Jam jars, that's what they use. The reason why they use jam jars, if it ever goes the wrong way around, explode, it's just glass. So it just leaves you to mess with water and glass in your engine, rather than a metal seal container that'll just blow up. But that's a good thing to look into. Yeah, it's very, very easy to do, mate, and it actually works very well.
That'd be interesting. Would that work on a petrol generator to generate electricity? Could I do a conversion on a petrol generator to basically run off of hydrogen? Interesting. And the other one is, it's all scare tactics. The government don't want you to be doing these things. They're losing tax. It's the same way as government don't like vape pens. They throw out all of this big propaganda, oh, it's scary, you don't know what it's like, you could be damaging yourself. Really? More than cigarettes? I doubt it. But they're not taxing it, you know? So they don't want people to do it because they're not earning any money out of it. Now, they're slowly starting to come round to the terms, well, vaping is a lot better than smoking. Yeah, you're right. So in 2015, we're going to start regulating it. Therefore, we're going to start taxing it. That's what they do. They're not going to earn no money out of it. It's the same with the fuel. They don't want people to run low-cost, fuel-efficient motors, you know, because, you know, they're not earning the tax out of it. It's a fine line between balancing well, let's give these people efficient motors and cut down our carbon footprint because, you know, the EU are really moaning us about this carbon footprint. But at the same time, we're not going to give people hydrogen cars. You know, that's the same reason why BMW and Mercedes and Audis, they're not making these hydrogen cars. The only people that are getting close to it is people like the Chinese and the Koreans and, you know, Hyundai and Honda, Toyota. Toyota are doing amazing things with fuel cells nowadays. Unfortunately, they're battery-powered fuel cells, not hydrogen fuel cells. But we are slowly getting there. But it won't be long, mate, until, you know, you're going to have to actually go to a petrol station and get coloured water, because if it's plain water in there, it means you've not paid the tax on that water. Therefore, that's what it's going to be, yeah? That will stop all of the water coming into households, and you're going to have to go and buy bottled water so they can earn money out of it.
Well, you do actually, innit? You got your water your bill, innit? You pay for your water that comes to your house, and you pay for the sewage costs, so you actually do pay for your water, don't you? I mean, but I'm just saying regarding that, it's very, very good what you actually get out of it. I've looked into it, I've got friends who've done it, you've opened my eyes, and I've looked into a lot of it, but you can make it yourself within half hour. It's so easy to do, very easy to do. But there's companies out there selling kits to do it, which are made a little bit better than that. They're just making money out of it, and they're not that expensive neither. So there's companies making out there, you can go online and buy them. I think even eBay and stuff, you can go and buy kits, professional kits made, and go and put it in your car. And they work on diesel engines as well, perfect. Obviously you've got to put a spark source. But the thing about it is the best killer. It's actually better for your car, because believe it or not, it actually burns a lot cooler, right? It burns cold, quite cold. Welding with it, if you actually weld with it, the actual tip of the welding rod is actually freezing cold. It's not hot. You can put your finger on it, you won't burn yourself. So it makes it better for your car. It runs your car a lot cooler, the engine, which is better for your engine as well. And that's what one of my friends said as well. By using that as well, you want to see the extra sort of horsepower you get out of your car, because it's a lot cooler. Plus the reason, obviously you're mixing petrol with using that as well, like. But look into it. You can actually weld with it, and it's freezing cold. So because it burns a lot, it burns cold. It actually cools your engine down when it burns, believe it or not, which is good for your engine. So there's more things into it than you think. Not just that you can run your car off water or your tap. That's one good thing. Second thing, okay, yeah, you're saving a quarter of a tank of fuel by fitting that on a jam jar. You use jam jar, coffee jars, that's all you use. Full of water, and that's it. That's enough to get easy and more a full quarter of a tank of fuel from that jar. So you'll use 3/4 petrol and 1/4 of that, which doing the max if you're driving or lorry drivers, etc. A lot of money that. But yeah, it burns cold. It burns at a cooler temperature than petrol does. But you can actually weld with it, and it's freezing cold. You can trust the welding tip as soon as you turn it off. It's not hot. Now that I thought was amazing. Like that is something else now.
Hello. Is anybody there? Answer me.
Yeah, that's Brown's gas and HHO you're talking about, not not specifically hydrogen. And yeah, it does. Fuel cells are all right for cars and stuff. The problem is the electrodes. They corrode very quickly. You can't just use plain water. If you use plain water, they dirt up so fast. And you have to use some sort of electrolyte. Peroxide, weirdly enough, works quite well. Urine as well has been tried. But yeah, just plain water, it works, it's fine. But you do go for electrodes like nobody's business. But there's generators out there now, HHO generators, Brown's gas generators, which you can actually buy on the market. You can even buy dry cell batteries and a portable generator, which uses solar panel to generate, to create the Brown's gas or the HHO. And I think Toyota, or one of the car manufacturers, has just released all their patents for hydrogen production onto the internet, to try and encourage more people to start looking into it and utilising it, which is really positive. Hopefully we'll start seeing the change soon, because I think hydrogen, or Brown's gas, HHO, is definitely the way forward.
Well, the good thing about it is, though, it uses a lot of energy to do it, but the good thing about it on your petrol car, you need alternator, which is quite high. It is a lot of amps, it's high ampage. So obviously once your car's running, because that's charging your battery in that, your power source goes straight to that, not your battery. It goes to, well, your battery, yeah, but it comes from that, I mean. That's what's powering it, to give you more gas. That's how you're getting so much out of it. So it takes a lot of energy to do it, but you got that from your car in the first place, where your engine's running and stuff. So it's like a little circle, isn't it? That runs your engine, that runs your alternator, start motor and all that, everything else, and back and forward. So it's quite clever how it's done. But I've got a friend who done it, and he showed me this. He done it in his house in a jam jar, made a little bubbler. He said, but what's this? He put a washing up liquid in with it, in the water, and made a bubble. So it just sat on the top of the water, a little bubble, only a small bubble, and lit it with his lighter. You should have heard the bang out of that. I mean, it was hard on the ears. It's very, very, it's a violent gas, very violent gas. But yeah, that's a funny one to do. Jam, make a bubbler, soapy water in it. And when the bubble on the surface, just light that one bubble, turn it off, light that one bubble with a lighter, and listen to the bang you get. You'll jump off the couch.
I think it's all positive. The more we move away to a clean, renewable energy, the less likely the government are actually going to start getting involved. I don't like the way the government tax petrol anyway. You know, it's nothing to do with them. You know, it's a bit like the tobacco companies. They're the ones that make it. They're the ones that ship it here, and our government's just like, yeah, we can make some money on that. We'll add some money. That is pointless. It's irrelevant. It's just a way that they can make some money. And it's great. They come up with all these fuel cell ideas and hydrogen reactors and God knows what else. But it's the government. They would do anything in their power to try and stop you from not giving them money and saving yourself. They would just jump in and start regulating it somewhere along the lines. Like they'll make it illegal or something to fill your car up unless you're actually in a proper petrol garage and you're using their stuff. It's a bit like red diesel. They're just going to colour the water or put something in it to say, yeah, you're using their water. It's pointless.
Yeah, I fully understand that. One thing I did notice, petrol prices, I seen a lot of news, Sky News before Christmas, you reckon in January the price of a litre of petrol will be 99 pence. I thought, that'd be interesting, it's coming down slowly, but it was only yesterday or the day before, they announced that most of the supermarkets are taking more money off, so it's close to the pound. But they said, if you're in the UK, look away now while we look at American prices, because you get upset. And in America, they're kicking off because it's 30 pence a litre for petrol and they're moaning. I went, what? I'd love to pay 30 pence a litre on petrol.
Oh, it's yourself, Frankie Boyle. Oh, you prick. Answer. Is there anybody out there?
Yes, there's people out there, but while people are actually having a conversation, we can't get around to answering you, keying up constantly.
You're finding out your hole, we cunt.
Yeah, that's what your mum said.
I was going to say whatever he said.
Yeah, up to a point, the Americans have got the right idea. But their government's still money suckers. And yeah, they do complain, 30 cents a litre, really? You want to try coming over here? It's just the government. It's our government, you know, they're money grabbers. Yeah, they're awful. They really are. If they're not making money out of it, I don't agree with it.
Well, one of the biggest problems with the fuel situation is that they invested a lot of the public pension money into oil because they thought it was quite stable. So now the price of oil is dropping down. All the big pension pots, which, one of their big pension plans, you know, that public pension thing they brought in, all that money was secured in oil. So as the price of oil is coming down and we're getting it cheaper at the pumps, we're also losing money on the pensions. So the pensioners are going to be, a much smaller pot to piss in.
Yeah. I think they should have had a vote on that. Look, we understand we've got your money. I just want to let you know what we're actually planning on doing with your money. We're just going to invest in something that we don't know whether or not it's going to work. If it works, we're going to be rich. If it don't work, you're going to be poor and we're still going to be rich.
Yeah. Sorry, I'm doing a bit of painting while I'm talking. So Sun Life, that winds me up knowing. You seen those adverts, Sun Life? Get money into your future and all this stuff. Invest a little bit into the Sun Life plan. Get a free pen or a DVD player or a TV DVD combo. Who buys a combo? You know, you're not going to buy two, are you? Then in the small print at the bottom it says the chances are that the prices of stock and everything else can go up as well as down, as we all know. So after 15 years you may only get back half of what you put in, if you're lucky. Why would you do that? Why would you give your money to somebody else to manage when you know that they're a company who are working for profit? You just wouldn't. You're better off just sticking it under your bed or just buying a load of gold or something like that. I don't know. Yeah, it does wind me up, a lot of these companies, especially for savings and things like that, where people are going to need it later on.
Well, yeah, they all do it though. They all do it. My mother used to work for Marks and Spencer's many moons ago. She actually left Marks and Spencer's to give birth to me. It was about 21 years ago. But anyway, she had this pension thing that she was paying in for constantly. Even when she left Marks and Spencer, she was still constantly paying into this pension fund. And they've like recently sent her a letter to basically say that, well, you're not actually going to get as much as what we was hoping we could give you, and we can now only give you this much a month or something. And it was quite a drop. It was something like 50 quid off of what they were actually like originally going to be giving her, to compared to now. They all do it. And this is like now a government, you know, opt-out kind of scheme where you have to kind of opt out of a pension scheme. They are forcing companies, making it mandatory that you actually have a pension scheme. I've got two. One of them's mandatory, that is part of one of my contracts, that I actually get a certain percentage coming into a pension scheme. And the other one is a private one that I just pay into. Whenever I've got a bit of money, I try and pay into it. And no doubt that maybe one day when I actually start to need it, I'm never going to get back the kind of money that I've been putting into it. But the way I see it is with these mandatory pension schemes, any money that I'm going to lose later on down the line is only really what the company's been putting in anyway. It's not come out of my pocket. And that's what they seem to be doing. It's like, well, you know, we can't afford to give you that much each month, so we're going to remove our contributions and only go by your contributions alone, which gives you a grand total of £19.50 a week.
I'll tell you what, like, interesting general, everything's changed over like our lifetime so far, what we've learnt and seen, to do with everything, taxes, government, everything. Well, I'd love to come back in 1,000 years just for the day. Not just for technology and stuff, just to see what it'd be like in 1,000 years from now. I wonder if we haven't nuked ourselves by then.
Oh, there's no doubt. There's no doubt. I don't like to go back over the ground we've already trod on, but that's how Chernobyl started. That is actually how Chernobyl started. Chernobyl started when one night the power plant decided to perform an experiment. They believed that they could save a little bit of power. So one night, early hours of the morning, when everyone was in bed, they decided to conduct this experiment. And that's when things started going wrong, and there was an explosion and everything went absolutely tits up. You know, it's just an experiment. The Hadron Collider, yeah, that's probably one of the most recent ones. No one knew what was going to happen when they switched this thing on. Would the Earth collapse in on itself? Would we recreate this magic spark that created the universe? You know, we're playing around with this. We ain't God. How do we know what happens when they bloody switch this machine on? You know, we could have wiped out half the world, destroyed the world. We don't know. Even they're sitting there going, we ain't got a clue what's going to happen when we flick this switch. Well, mate, maybe you should. Who knows? I reckon we probably will end up destroying ourselves. Whether that would be with Korea or whatever, yeah. You know, all it takes is a little threat, someone sending up a missile by accident, and then the next thing you know, the Russians panic, the Chinese panic, we panic, the Americans pull out their big guns, and then the next thing you know, there's missiles flying everywhere, and we're all gone.
Remember the film War Games in the 80s? That's a cracking film still to this day.
I love that film. I love that film. That film's like a Bible. What was it? Global War Domination or something. Nuclear whatever. Yeah. War Games. Brilliant.
That's what'll happen, isn't it? Exactly like that. Or what does it take? A system to collapse? An operating system? You know what I mean? That monitors all have to go screws up. A virus, hacked even, a virus goes in and makes look that it's going to launch all the missiles, and they've launched it when they haven't. Even though that was down to the computer playing a game. But same thing, isn't it? Everything like that's got to be run by a system, i.e. computer. What if it gets a bug in that? And all of a sudden data starts saying blah blah, launch the missile. And the backup system they probably use says the same thing and all that. What if they hack into that and something goes off? Because they've hacked America, Sony, then they meant to hack back Korea for a night and turned all their net off. I have watched the interview. I think that is hilarious. I can see why he's fuming, but to be honest, I don't think they were that bad on him. They made him out more good to be bad, but that is one funny film, that.
To be fair, they actually made him out like he was a normal person, you know? They did. They made out he was a normal person, had a laugh, enjoyed the American culture. He enjoyed the show so much that he brought him over to Korea and all of that kind of stuff. Yeah, they did paint him out to be a normal person. But they did also outline that he was a lying little shit. And, you know, nothing's real. You know, it's all fake. You're just putting this on. You're not really my friend. You're just acting. You're fake. And that's probably enough to pee him off. Not only that, the Korean culture, they did kind of, you know, stick a big finger up to it. But you know, it's most of it's probably true anyway. I didn't actually see a lot wrong with the film, although I can kind of understand why you would get peed off. But there's another example, you know, how someone could come up with a film, direct it, produce it, try and release it, and then that almost caused a war.
You know, I thought that was going to... But then again, how many times has he tested missiles and threatened America anyway? So, and then America saying, man, make a film, taking the Michael out of him. Aren't they trying to push his buttons? You know what I mean? Literally push his buttons by doing that. It's like if Hitler was about and he'd done that then, he'd wipe it, you know what I mean? It's just, it's nuts. That is it. But I'll say what I did like about the film, really did like, apart from the innuendos in it, which is funny. Really funny. The fellow who played him, I'll tell you what, he played the one, he was a probably better actor than the rest of them in there, because obviously we didn't know who he was playing him, like, but the other actors, you know who they are, but I reckon he was the best actor in it.
Oh mate, he's going to have trouble organising a few Chinese restaurants, I'll tell you. Yeah, yeah, the film was quite funny, I do admit the film was very funny. Going back to something that you said about, you know, he's tested this and he's tested that. Yeah, he has. You got to remember that this is stemmed from 3 generations, right? You got the great-granddad or the granddad, the dad, and now the son. You got to remember that the 2 predecessors were very mouthy, all right? They threatened quite a bit, and they didn't always take place on it. And the Americans have kind of, you know, livened up to that. We've had warships on their way to Korea several times because they've made threats. And, you know, we do kind of take them seriously, but we don't just point a rocket and shoot, you know. I'm pretty sure that if a rocket was to leave airspace of Korea, it would get shot down and lots more missiles would be on its way to its origin. I'm pretty sure about that. But I'm also pretty sure that the Americans aren't just going to jump and destroy the bloke, because we might pee off the Chinese. And then we won't end up with phones and TVs and DVD players because there's no one left to make them.
That's a true point, isn't it? But then again, he's peeing them off himself as well, because he's had problems with half of them as well, isn't he? It's all propaganda, isn't it? You know what I mean? I watch a lot of news, but I watch RT more than anything else, because they tell you more about our country than our own country does. But the film, the 2 bits that made me laugh in the film, like, you can't really comment on it too much about the film, can you? Because there's that much in it. But the bit on Eminem, I thought that was hilarious. I had to double check first. I thought, hang on, I've got the wrong film here. Why is Eminem this? I thought, this is not the right film. But I thought that was funny. But the bit when he turned round and ripped him saying that is when he turned round and said he was gay, and he went, no, we have a lot of can't say the word, can we? And then they all walked in. I thought that was hilarious.
Yeah, it's probably where everyone's getting the "I'm Eminem is gay" malarkey from. There's been a lot of that going around, and I'm pretty sure it's not true. But yeah. Well, Korea used to be funded by the Soviet Union. Yeah. And you know, the old KGB, they used to fund a lot of it. They're now skint. They have no money. They keep on going to China and stuff like that, trying to make relations with them, and it just falls back down, basically. It's a bit like Korea had talks with America at one stage. And I think, yeah, that was the KGB and the Russians and stuff. He sat down at a table and he's like, yeah, look, we need your backing, we need funding, blah, 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 blah. Oh, and by the way, we've kidnapped 6 of your people and we've been, you know, interrogating them and using them for information. And then they're like, well, how many more people have we actually taken? Well, we can't actually answer that. And then the talks just broke down. They're like, well, no. Same with Japan. They was kidnapping people from Japan. And from what I can tell, he was just using them as sex slaves and all sorts. But very, very racist country. Very racial. They're the most racist people in the world. Well, okay, he is, or the family is. You can't really speak for the people because they've just been brainwashed. They're too scared to actually say anything other than that. But they're not going to get no more funding. No one else is actually going to trust them. They've broken too many promises. The only thing left is to see what kind of minerals the guy's got and see whether he has actually got any nuclear weapons. Personally, I think we should just invade the place. Invade it, hand it to the South Koreans, try and unbrainwash some of these people, because that's a bit weird. I personally think that if we can go in and take out Saddam Hussein for being a dictator, why can we not go and do it to Korea? Oh, because he might have nuclear weapons. Really? Well, we've got quite a few too, and, you know, I'm pretty sure that you can shoot these things down before they even reach any of our coasts.
Yeah, well, didn't we go in the first place because he did have nuclear weapons, and that was what he went in for in the first place, to farm them and get rid of them, but I found out he had none. But he's saying he's got them, and he's firing things off and that and all that, so wouldn't he, I think he'd go and take him out before Saddam, which is another weird story to go into. But I did watch a programme and tell you today regarding, and you've probably seen it on the news channels, people who've escaped the country. They were telling you how bad he's got torture camps and that. He says he hasn't when he has. People have been there and all that, escape. But I looked into it now. If they go into across the border, they get arrested and sent back. Now, they get out. When you have to go round the world, sort of, to get to one place. I can't remember exactly now. And once they get there, as soon as they get there, they get a passport, citizenship and all that, and they're safe. But to get there, it's a mission for them. So half of them are like, we can do it. We can get out. We've just got to reach this one place. We can't go straight in a line like the crow flies because we won't get that way. They've got to go right round and more or less back up on themselves. But once they get there, they've done it. They're out of there. They're out of the country. Don't get sent back and they get given freedom. Now that was interesting. And I thought that is crazy. And it's a lot of, they get caught, the family gets killed and all that if one's got out. And oh, that's wrong. It's another Hitler, isn't it? But going back to the film, I wouldn't be surprised if the person who played him, who was very good, hasn't got a death threat against him for pretending to be him in a film. I wouldn't be surprised if he's gone, right, him, I want him killed. Find out who he is and kill him on the sly, just because he's played me. Now, I wonder if the fellow who played him is actually thinking that. I wonder if I've gone too far.
Oh, without a doubt, I bet he's proper cacking his pants now. I bet he is. I bet none of them, when making the film, was expecting the response from Korea the way they did. Trouble is, I think we should just cut them off of our internet. If they won't allow their people on the internet, I think we should cut the internet for them. You know, which we have done. But the problem is, right, is that Korea, although China no longer funds them, as far as we're aware, they're still a tight ally to North Korea. They are allies with North Korea. And that's the only reason why we've not gone in and sorted them out, because we don't want to screw up the relations with China. China is very, very touchy. The Chinese culture is all about respect and honouring. And yeah, if you was to start taking out one of their allies, that is severe disrespect, and we'll end up in trouble with China. Which I personally believe China is more dangerous than America. I personally think that China's got more power than America.
Well, I remember right, I think China was the same, you know. Their internet was the same or something, where they're only subject to see so much outside their own network. Okay, yeah. You can go online on eBay and Amazon and all kinds of mad places and go and buy stuff in China and that's cheap and all that. But as for them being a country and that, their internet's very little. Okay, yeah, Korea and all that. Their internet's nowhere. They can't even get out their own country, their own network. But China apparently was like that. It was like an internet in their country, and they couldn't get out of it to go and see like what's happening in like a UK website and all that. They were like that. Now, I don't know if it's been changed. I'm not sure because I haven't followed much of that. But it is funny when you think about it, that their internet comes from, they've got 4 internet connections to their own country, haven't they? And it's via China. So if it's being turned off, you know, China hasn't just turned it off just to wind them up. Maybe they've peed off China or something behind the scene and they've gone, mate, we're cutting your net off then. Dump that. And then blame it on the Americans. Or they've done it themselves and blame it on the Americans. Because you don't know what goes on behind the scenes here. What we get told is we're the last one in the chain of to know. Line of chain, you know what I mean? We're the last to know the public. But it's probably behind the scenes a different story than we're getting sold anyway.
Yeah, well, China do actually run a proxy for the whole country. The whole country. China has got more of an online presence than every person that is in America. There is more people using the internet in China than the entire population of America. Google, back in 2001-ish, 2-ish maybe, Google basically opened up an office in China. And the Chinese got the right ump about it, made it very, very difficult for Google because Google does not restrict the search results. And the only way they was actually able to get into the Chinese market was to then start filtering the internet, the Google results in China, which is a real shame. Later on, that was then dropped because the Chinese, they don't pay for software. Their laws regarding copyright and protected material and software laws are just pretty much non-existent. And that kind of caused the Chinese a bit of issue on getting software and ripped off audio and all of the rest of it. So that later on, that restriction was then later lifted, but they are still sanctioned by the proxy server for the main country. So any information on the internet had to go through this one big gate, and the Chinese had control of that gate, and they said, nope, you can't see that, nope, you can't see that. Right down to pornography, basic pornography, they just banned it. And even today, they've still got so much restrictions on their internet connection, it's unbelievable. A lot of the time, if you go onto, say, a Chinese website for some of these manufacturers, like a driver for a card or something that you want to put into your computer, and you want to download it, and you're like, oh, it's a Chinese website, oh, it's so slow. That's because they've actually got traffic management, and you know, they've got machines trying to handle thousands of connections in and out, and it just slows the entire internet connection down. Unless you're physically inside China, you're not going to get those kind of speeds. And that's how it works. They use traffic shaping. They use network management, and they restrict people on what they can and can't see. Yes, Korea also gets their internet connection from China. On our Facebook page, I think Billy Boy posted it, there is a submarine map of fibre optic cables that are laid underneath the sea that provide the internet connection for multiple countries and how they're connected and what other country they're connected to. There's not many links going into Korea. Not many at all. The only links that are actually going in from Korea, believe it or not, are from Russia and China.
You know, it's scary, isn't it? So it's like among themselves. You don't want the whole world to integrate, via the net. But one thing that you mentioned, China, you mentioned porn, which can't really go too much on you about that. They're a bit of a weird culture, because what I've come across regarding them, sex education they get is the best in the world. But they are a lot into the cartoon stuff, aren't they? Regarding sex, cartoon versions of it. They're into all that for some reason. It's weird. But something I've seen that was on the telly, the net, or I can't remember now, a long time ago. But they're women. They're sort of educated more to sex, of how the human body works, organs, and how to get aroused better. And their sex education is like nuts. You can't really say too much on it, but if you know what I'm on about, it's just crazy. They've got more of a sex drive and stuff, but at the same time, it's weird. It's like two sides of that with them.
Yeah. Well, you've got the government that says how it should be, and then you've got the younger generation that says how they want it to be. You've got to remember that a lot of people in government are a lot older and of an older generation. And the young generation, they come in and, you watch a Chinese porno, you don't actually get to see anything because it's all like, the way they like block everything out and make it go blurry and stuff. When she pulls out her boobs, that's it, they go blurry and blotchy. Whoa, what's going on there, Can't you even see a nipple in China? What's the matter with you? That's the way they are, and it's the same with India, funny enough. They're very, very up on their sex. Kama Sutra and all this, it's an art,
Yeah, but the China, something I've seen a couple of years back about China, and I was stunned. The women, the actually sex education with them goes as far as how do you have an orgasm, how many you can have, how to pleasure a man better and all that. And I mean into things where even I don't know half of things unless you better look into it properly, but I was like, wow. So they're actually brought up on a better education with the like the woman's told to like please the man better this way, that way, into in-depth detail and knowledge and stuff where you think that's just overkill. Half the stuff you learn as you grow up, innit? And you know what I mean? But no, they're actually taught. So it was a program I seen somewhere. It was on the net or the TV. I think it was the TV, to be honest. And I was like, my jaw dropped, and I went, what? That's how they see sex. So they're just this thing, they've got a very higher sex drive there. Not like they say over here, aren't they? The UK are ashamed of this, that and the other, and don't talk about like man problems, Men are more stubborn to talk about like prostate cancer and Islamic awareness of all that, but China, totally different. They don't hide nothing within their own people. They educate them among themselves a lot better than most countries do. I seen a program, I was like, oh my God. I was like, that's mad. I thought I wouldn't mind settling down with a nice Chinese fit woman, because I'll tell you what they know knowledge-wise is unbelievable. I don't even know what I'm saying, but that one was like, wow, that's mad. But then again, the porn industry, they censor it. So it's weird, isn't it? It's like hiding one side of it, but the other side of it among themselves, it's a different ballgame. Literally.
Well, my personal opinion on that, it's a man's world. And what I mean by when I say that is that a lot of the power in China and stuff are men. Very rarely you see a woman in a high-powered job in China. It's just part of the way the culture works. And the women are actually influenced to be perfect housewives. So they'll come along and they'll always look after the man, whether that be sexually, food, keeping the place clean. I think the Chinese have they've mastered that into getting their women into the perfect, ideal woman. It's a shame we don't have it over here, really.
Yeah, but another thing as well, have you seen how pretty they are? Okay, there's pretty women in every country, pretty women everywhere in the world, no matter where they are, but there's a big difference between ugly women in China and fit ones, and there's an awful lot of fit ones. It's just, I think it's crazy. Like the film itself, the interview, the one with the helicopter, when he met him in the desert, and she got out the helicopter. Whoa, she was fine there. and then the things she come up with, and that's just made out how the women are over there. In the film, obviously, gets part of it, and I was like, that's mad. But there's a lot of nice-looking women in China. I think there's more nice-looking than there's ugly ones. I don't know if that's just me or what, I don't know, thinks that, but I think they're one of the prettiest women, some of them, considering most countries, like. But then again, there's pretty women everywhere in the world. I think you know what I mean.
Yeah, well, it's a bit like what we say with the Swiss girls. You know, they're all blonde and pretty and tall and really nice looking. Yeah, probably is true until you actually get there, and then you realise that it's just the pretty ones that make themselves a bit seen. The ugly ones just tend to hide.
Yes, it's a bit like the UK, isn't it? You can walk around in the winter and all the ugly ones are about. And soon as the sun comes out, you're like, wow, where's all these fit women come from? They must hibernate.
No, it's the same women. They just make more of an effort in the summer. There's a bird down the road. Absolutely stunning she is. Absolutely stunning.
I think when I'm 60, what's it going to be like again? Another big massive change when I get to 60, if I live that long. But hopefully when I get to 60, I'll be like, wow. But then again, you've got all the mad kids that are running around now, killing each other, stabbing each other, shooting at each other, and spitting their sounds. When their kids are all in their 20s, what's that generation going to be like? Now, that is scary.
Oh, it's the Americans corrupting the world. Nowadays, mate, all the kids are into this gang culture. They think it's really cool to hang around in massive groups, annoying people. It's the Americans.
I don't think you've got to worry. Apparently, at the current rate, by the time we get to 60, we'll outnumber youngsters. There'll be more old people than there will be youngsters. And you think of all the drugs and stuff flying around, by then they should be excellent. So when we get to 60, we should be having a whale of a time. I think they'll be actually jealous of us.
That's a 3/4. Drugs, that's another one, isn't it? Sure, your kids do not touch a drug called salvia. That makes you sit for 15 minutes, you don't even know what you're doing. Make sure you don't go near that, because that's a no-no. And the other thing in America that's going on, there's a drug called, it's gone, bath salts. I don't know if you've seen bath salts in America. Oh my God, you take that, and they're just rolling around, don't know what they're doing or not, and I just went, wow. I understand like regulation drugs and that, like, what I mean, but stuff like that, where you don't even know what you're doing, that's scary, that.
Yeah, well, America's got one of the biggest drug cultures in the world. Even the high and mighty probably got a little cocaine habit somewhere.
So it's a new phase going on now, isn't it? What they're doing, they're taking that drug, salvia. It's like a plant substance, but within 20 seconds of breathing and smoking it, for 15 minutes you hallucinate, worse, powerful than any LSD. Or mushrooms, anything like that. But the new craze they're doing now is they're filming themselves with their friends where they take it, film them with it, and then show them afterwards, put it on YouTube. YouTube is full of it, and it's scary. It is really scary. You don't know what they're doing. In some cases, they get wound up, like, that's a spaceship above your head. Maybe you believe it, and they're getting freaked out and scared, and you're like, phew, where's the enjoyment in that? That's scary, and obviously the mental health stuff regarding it afterwards. Put salvia in. It's the best of salvia trips, or put in bath salts. That's a drug in America, bath salts. That's another scary one, that. People that are on that, 9 out of 10 on that, they just get shot dead in their head, because they just get shot. It actually makes your body temperature go that high, you're cooking from the inside out. So 9 out of 10, they die anyway. Why you want to take it in the beginning, that would put you off anyway, but... amazes me, some of the stuff I've seen on the net, but it's interesting looking into it, like. But I haven't got kids, unfortunately, but people who have got young kids are out and different drugs that are coming in, and like that meow one, I think it was a fertilizer or something on it. So many stuff out there they'll take and they'll try. Scary, okay, drugs aren't good. Certain ones, you know what you're doing. The stuff where you don't know what you're doing, that's scary stuff, that. You don't mess with stuff like that at all.
Meow meow. That was quality, that was. There's, you going back to like filming them. That's actually a good way of doing it. not so long ago, David Hasselhoff had that massive drug and alcohol problem, and his daughter filmed him, stuck it on the internet. This is David Hasselhoff's daughter, famous, yeah, David Hasselhoff, was on the internet off of his face, absolutely off of his face. When he sobered up and watched it back, he's never drunk since.
That's funny. I'll have to look at that one. I'll have to have a look at that one. But on a serious note, seriously, go on YouTube, salvia and bath salts. So you've got to put in salvia and bath salts, 2 separate drugs. Go and have a look into that, and it'll blow your mind. You'll just sit there and go, why the hell would you want to take that? In fact, you see like 6, 7 lads, like about 15 to 18, something like that. And one will take it, and his mates will go, what? They'll be laughing at him, and they'll go, nah, I'm not trying it. No, forget that. I'm not having a go with that. No, I'm not doing that. So that actually scares the mates out of doing it, but they've just seen the mates. Like, to be a group of 5 kids, one will go, I'll have a go. And the rest then tried it, and they've seen how he's reacted, and they've gone, nah, I'm not doing it. So it blatantly shows you how bad it is. But some of them you laugh at, because the things they come up with, but to see them, people like that, within 20 seconds, someone like that, that's scary.
Right, bear with me, I'm about to watch one of these salvia videos. This is amazing.
You'll be blown away with these, you know. You will be just, if you've got kids, you'll be like, right, I'm making sure they never touch that. That's how scary I thought it was. I said to my ex come here and said, look at this. I want to show you something. She went, yeah. So make sure, if you ever heard that word mentioned or anything, put your foot down. You know kids, they say anything. Yeah. Watch about 2 or 3 salvia ones and then go and put bath salts in. That's even worse than that. Badly. You'll find one, it's the main one. There's a fellow who drives up in his car on it, goes straight to a house, into a parked vehicle, and he's rolling around the floor, seeing things that aren't there, shouting. He thinks he's swimming. He's lost the plot. No, off there, there's like 4 or 5 police just saying, calm down. He doesn't even know what he's doing. And I was like, wow, that's unbelievable.
Oh my God. Right, bear with me 1 minute, man. I need to find my dealer and get some of this.
I thought you'd hear it at the floor. Do you know what? I'll tell you something now. I got told about this a while back. I'll give you 2 stories. One, me uncle got given a roll-up cigarette. That's what he thought it was. I'll say it wasn't my uncle. It was one of my uncle's friends by my uncle's son. He thought it was funny to give him a roll-up with that in. Now, he had experience of it that was that bad that he actually thought he'd seen death and the devil. It actually messed him up. And he wasn't told what it was. And it was that was in it. My mother phoned me up and went, what drug can cause this? And straight away I went to salvia. And that's what he's been given. My cousin thought it was funny, laughed his head off, like, but my cousin, my uncle's mate, obviously he didn't find it funny. But my mum was amazed. She went, what can cause that? I said, it's a drug called salvia. The only reason why I knew, one of my friends told me about it. His mates tried it. He said, one was crawling around the house convinced he was a dog. And his other mate was jumping over the sofa, something else. And it put him off. But if you go to any store in town or local place that sell like bongs and paraphernalia, you sell it there legally. You can go and buy that legally. A little just like green leaves. You can buy it legally. And I thought, that's wrong. That is really wrong. If you like your psychedelics, yeah, happy days. But I wouldn't touch something like that. If you're not in control that much of yourself, it's not worth doing.
Do you know what, mate? I'm not a great one for, you know, the trippy stuff. I'm a cannabis smoker part-time. I don't know, I'm currently going through a transition phase. I've recently stopped smoking, switched to vaping. As a result, I've gone a few weeks without any cannabis. Wasn't too bad. And now I'm just slowly, like, you know, just smoking a little bit. Knocks me right off me rockers. Absolutely knocks me off me rockers. Can't do it the way I used to. Yeah, I'm kind of in that transition phase, just trying to grow up a little bit. But at the same time, I don't want to give it up because, you know, I kind of enjoy it. I don't drink. Some people go to the pub every evening, get absolutely paralytic, spend a lot of money. Me, I just prefer to sit down in front of the computer. I'm a computer programmer, and I just zone out, you know, just smoke a little doobie, just chill out, relax. That's me. This kind of trippy stuff, no, freaks the life out of me. As a youngster rebel, yeah, I've tried a few others, ecstasy, MDMA, you know, it's, you know, it swings and roundabouts. You try these things, but that kind of trippy stuff, no thanks. I had a friend of mine, I remember he was in hospital, and he was tripping out in hospital. They'd give him some drugs or something, and he could have sworn that these dragons and stuff were coming out of the sink that was in the corner. Absolutely freaked out. I've had another couple of other friends as well on trips. The old LSD, stick it under your tongue. Back in the days, that was, and the mushrooms that used to be able to put in the pep pills. You used to get mushrooms, dry them out, stick them in the old pep pills, swallow a few of them when you go clubbing. Wow, that was a bit psycho. But I've never really liked it. I don't like being out of my own head too much. That's another level. I'm watching this bird now freak out on her bed. She's crazy.
I think I've seen that one. She's just laying on the pillow and she's more or less crying, like, oh, she's just lost, isn't she?
Must make me look sane.
I wouldn't go that far. But she's definitely off her nut. She is off of her nut. She's on another level. Flying. She's there by herself as well. I'm like, if I was doing that kind of stuff, I wouldn't want to be by myself. I'd have to have a few mates. But at the same time, I probably wouldn't take it with a couple of mates around me, just because I know what my mates are like, mate. They would tie me up, have me naked outside on a lamp post or something. If I was off my nut, they would abuse me, because I abuse them when they're off their nut.
God. I've been there, done that when I was younger. Done mushrooms, done trips, bosh. Some of them good experiences I've had. One time I had a bad trip, really bad one, and it put me right off them. Never touched one of it again. Mushrooms, they went. I never tried that once. I actually went fishing. I went night fishing, and I actually had a starlight. The little sticks you snap and you glow on your float. There was actually one glowing on my chest. I weren't there, I could see it, but I knew I was hallucinating. And I was laughing at the fact that I could see something that I knew wasn't there. And I was amazed, but I didn't have a bad experience after that. I actually enjoyed it, and it was something I do speak about now and again. But that, as you say, that's solid is another level. That is just scary. You don't even know what you're doing. If you think that's bad, go and type in when you finish baths. Just put in bath salts, right? And it's not bath salts that you put in your bath. It's just cold that. But that's like 10 times worse than salvia. That's just another level. But it's scary, some of the stuff now. That's what I mean. I used to smoke cannabis when I was younger. I smoked it for years. It was the Rocky I used to smoke. But then it went to the skunk. That's too strong. That was just, nah, I did like it at first, but then when I packed it in years and years ago. Every now and again I had a little pull, even a couple of pulls, just blowing my brains away, and I thought, no, I'm not into it no more. I've grew out of it. So I packed it about 10 years ago, it is now, 10, 11 years ago. I'm on the e-ciggies, been out on that 2 years. I don't drink, so I'm not doing too bad myself.
Yeah, I must admit, these plant fertilisers and horse tranquilizers and God knows what else that is appearing in corner shops, right? I think they need to kind of stop that. Maybe they should come up with this one weird rule to say that, okay, if you're selling like synthetic plant feeder, then it has to be in kind of like an authorised retailer, like a garden centre. You know, not the corner shop where you can just go and pick up some fertilizer and get absolutely off of your nut. And the worst thing about it is the way it's packaged. It's packaged like, you know, you're buying sweets. What's that? Remember that popping candy that you used to get? You used to rip the lid open. It used to be in like a sachet, like a Lemzip sachet. You used to rip it open and throw it all in your mouth. Blah, 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 blah. It used to go on your tongue. It comes in packets like that, you know. You need to kind of stop that. I think the government needs to stop wasting time on trying to do silly little things and start concentrating on things like that. Although Billy Boy's right, it'll probably do us a favour later on in life and get most of the thugs off the streets because they're dead on some weird concoction of plant fertiliser. Might do us all a favour.
Yeah, well, type in bath salts and you'll see a few of them ones. They'll blow your mind. There's a guy, He was on a bridge and almost man. This fellow walked up to him with nothing going in his neck and started beating his face. So the police shot him dead and he was on bath salts. But then there's other videos on there of people on bath salts that you'll think salvia is nothing. You'd rather take, if you had the choice, you have to take two of them. If you were forced to take, if you were sat down and forced, right, you take one of these drugs and no matter what, you got no say which one would you want to pick. You'd pick salvia over bath salts. That's how bad that is, and salvia's bad enough. So put in bath salts. Watch what you see on that. Your jaw will hit the floor.
All right, give me 1 minute. I'm looking now.
I spent about an hour one night going through both of them, bath salts and the salvia, looking at some stuff, and it just opened my eyes to how scary it is. But yeah, that one will. If you find the one where he drove through well, it's a house, but it's sort of like a wooden house. He drove through that in a car, crashed right into a vehicle in his car, and he's rolling all around the floor while the police are standing there. Some guy's recording him, and in the end he says, "Stop recording, please." But that guy's gone out of it. Doesn't even know he's human. It's got to know towards that. It's that bad. The American Navy actually made their own video because sailors were taking it because there was no test to say you actually took it. It's a drug you can take and it doesn't get produced. You can't tell you that being on it, no matter there's a sample blood, urine. There's no way of detecting it. So a lot of sailors were taking it. So the actual Navy in America, you want to put it, done a video of their thing to say like, don't take this drug. So you'll probably find that'll be on there for that. It's really serious stuff that way. How are you getting on?
So I'm on the second video. First one was a bit crap. I'm on the second one.
There's one that's on for about 6 minutes you'll find. It's a fella rolling around the floor with the police. If you find that one, you'll just be jaw up. You know, honestly, I think it's the most viewed and most thingy on Facebook. So it's probably the only one you'll find on the right after you've seen one at the top. It's the most famous one.
Wow, that's something weird, man. Right, this is like the third video that I've seen. And every one of them gets aggressive. It's right, bath salts is what I know as crocodile. That is freaky. Every one of them gets aggressive.
Well, Big Brother starts tonight.
Welcome to intermission. Yeah, intermission.
Good morning to everyone. Good morning to everyone on the channel.
Hello, Ben. Good afternoon. How you doing?
Good, sir. How you doing? Hope you're doing well. You, the family, everyone. Hope that you had a great Christmas and a good New Year. Great New Year.
Right, I'm back. Sorry, chaps. I got a phone call in the middle of looking at your bath salt video. My phone call obviously cut this out, so I've missed out what got said. So, Gabby, you've come across a few of the bath salts and freaked it out.
Yeah, I did. Bear with me. Ben, yes, mate, I did. I had a good Christmas, a very relaxing New Year as well. I trust you had the same. Season's greetings and all. Yeah, that salvia and the bath salts crocodile, that is absolutely crazy. I cannot believe that these kids are actually doing this kind of stuff. There's this girl that is just completely off of her face. She hasn't got a clue what's going on. And this bath salts, this crocodile stuff, that makes them so violent, unbelievably violent. What is that? Where are they getting it from? And why have we not stopped it? That is crazy.
That is a good question.
Sorry, mate, but I'm like, wow. I understand people take drugs. I understand that. Some of them, you know, are not so bad. You know, a bit of cannabis here, a bit of alcohol there. You know, kind of tolerate that. But when someone is taking this stuff and they are taking chunks out of other people, thinking that they're cannibals. I've watched 3 videos on this now, and every one of them has been really violent, to the point where, like, wow, that's, wow. And the age of these kids that are doing it, I'm like, I know the Americans, right? I look at a lot of the American stuff, right? And you see like a 14-year-old American kid, all right? And for us over here, all right, it seems like you look at them and you think, yeah, that guy's like 25. And you remember they're American and they're actually like 14. It's really weird. But there's this girl on there, she looks seriously young. She's like at the most 20. And she is absolutely off of her face trying to fight someone that's like probably twice the size of her and just could quite easily just wipe her out. But she is proper trying to take chunks out. It's disgusting. It's disgusting. It's like watching one of them zombie movies, you know?
Do you have a lot of problems with that in New York, Ben? As it's kind of your line of work, what you do out there. Do you have people taking the unlicensed drugs? Any problems with the one that Mike's talking about on the tubes and things?
I'm back, chaps. I don't know if I got cut off before when I broke back in again. I had a phone call that cut me off the programme. Regarding the bath salts then, I know that'll make you jaw at the floor. Yeah, turning people into zombies and they're eating each other. That's another thing about it as well, forgot to mention. That's the violent side of it. But look at the guy on the bridge. Type in bath salt on the bridge. Homeless guy sitting there. Fellow walks up, absolutely in his knack, not wearing nothing. How he's got that far, I don't know. And starts eating the homeless guy. Eats his eyeballs out, his nose, his face, the lot. Police shot him dead. But all the other ones on the bath salt, there's one I've seen. Actually, that wasn't even the bath salt, that was a salvia. Some fellow sitting there with his wife in the house. He takes it, leaves it in 20 seconds. 2 minutes later, he stands up on his couch, runs across the couch and jumps straight through the glass window of his window. Straight through his window. And I was like, wow, that's dangerous, that. And there's a few fighting, but the bath salt, that is really bad. But I've missed out the conversation. I had an incoming phone call that cut me off.
Alright, let's try and organise this, because the conversation is going to go everywhere. I think Ben has just disappeared, which makes it irrelevant. Yeah, mate, that's crazy. That is crazy. That is crazy. Any drug where you can just have one hit and it sends you that crazy needs to be addressed, and it needs to be addressed like mega fast, alright? I don't care whether we don't tranquilise a horse ever, alright? If it means getting that drug off of the market, alright? Sod the horses. These people are crazy. Crazy.
I thought that might open your eyes a little bit. Shocking, isn't it?
Well, I've heard of crocodile, and I vaguely remember hearing a little bit about salvia as well. But I've never really gone onto YouTube and looked for videos of people on it. And that is, wow. That's all I can say. I'm still in a bit of shock about it, really. And there's some pretty birds doing it as well. And you're like, wow, why? You know? Look at you, you're stunning. And you want to walk around acting like a crackhead. That's just, I'm a bit gobsmacked, really.
Right. Do you want me to tell you something that'll make your jaw drop even more?
When you started, you might as well finish.
Right. Go and put bath salts into Google, right, and look down. They've only made a film about it in America. Bath salts, the zombie film where everyone eats everyone. They've actually made a film. And I mean, as in, like, they brought a film out. As in, like, the pit, like, Sony and that, whatever. I've actually brought a film out called Bath Salts, because it's that bad. And in the film, everyone's eating everyone who's on it. As in, like, the zombies. Go and look at Google, seriously, right? Put in bath salts in Google and just go down to the first, second, third, you'll see the film. What's the website? IMB, whatever it is, that tells you all the films. You'll see it there and you'll just go, what?
Well, believe it or not, in England, we're actually behind a little bit on the drug culture. It's a bit like cocaine. It hit America before it hit us. It's the same with like the crystal meth and stuff like that. You didn't really get a lot of that around. Skunk, bud, green. It used to be just solid, you know. Used to get a nice bit of hash. Not too bad. And now everything's like, yeah, it's got to be skunk. It's got to be like chemically grown and stuff. It's just, yeah. I think a lot of these drugs originate out of America just because they're absolutely, all of them are just off their nut.
Yeah, I'm just going to go to Google now and type it in myself because just to double check I am right in what I did see. Bath salt. Right. Search. Oh, there it is. Oh my god, you can buy it and everything for buttons. That's scary. Go down. What is it? Yeah, right, yeah. There's the one. Let me just click, make sure it is. Come on. Yeah, right. Watch this. Right, seriously, do this. You want to see this. Type in bath salt into Google.
Yeah, the first one comes up with boots.
Right, just put in Google, right, seriously, just put bath space salt, right, and then go all the way down, right, ignore the boot, you said boots or something. Ignore that, go all the way down, just keep scrolling down and you'll see bath salt, zombie drug. This video contains graphic images, right? It's on for 11 minutes. Watch that. That tells you all about it, how bad it is, the lot. That was November 2013. That, I don't know if you've seen it. I can see the Russian girl in bath salts. That was one I watched. But actually show, oh my god. That's the best one to see. It's about a girl who was on it as well. Trying to think. I'm just skipping through it. Then the packaging regarding it. But it shows you what people are doing on it. There's a fella beating a car up for no reason. Fella climbing on a ladder. There's a fella who jumps, the fella rolling around the street. For some reason they do a lot of rolling around the streets. There's a fella jumping from car to car to car, but then it tells you then in a hospital what it actually does to your body, and there's a guy there showing you what it does. It just kills you. Watch that one. That is nuts. The car bit where you jump on cars is unbelievably insane. But the guy's strapped to a trolley off his cake in the hospital, about to die. Yeah, there's the one. It even gives you all the MDPV it's called. Well, you keep changing one molecule and balancing it, and you just change one molecule, and it's legal again. They can't stop it. You just let me know you found the one I said there. You found it. Am I still on? I've been disconnected.
Sorry, mate. You're talking to yourself because I'm watching this video. Bear with me.
Is it the one I told you to find? Yeah.
It's one on bath salts. There's some crazy. I think it's going through a lot of the people. Title says bath salt zombie drug. This video contains graphic images. I'm watching it right now.
Okay, that's the one. Come back if you watched that. That is unbelievable.
From the Sky News Centre at 2, two masked men are on the run in Paris after attacking the offices of a satirical magazine. 12 people have been killed and a number of others injured, some critically. Shocking footage from the scene has emerged. The suspects attacked the offices of the Charlie Hebdo magazine. French President François Hollande rushed to the scene to condemn what's happened.
It was an exceptionally barbaric attack committed here in Paris against the newspaper, which also means against freedom of speech and against journalists. Police officers and journalists were assassinated in a cowardly way.
The publication's building was firebombed 3 years ago after a special edition made reference to the Prophet Muhammad. France's 24's UK correspondent Bénédicte Pavillot believes it was a planned attack.
This was a cold-blooded military execution, they obviously wanted to go in and target very specific individuals, and if my colleagues from Le Figaro are to be believed, they have murdered amongst the most famous cartoonists in France.
In other news, Oldham Athletic are understood to have agreed personal terms with convicted rapist Ched Evans over a potential move. The club's planning to make an announcement tomorrow. The tail of a crashed AirAsia jet has been found on the seabed by Indonesia's search and rescue agency. Investigators hope the black box recorders may be nearby. David Cameron's accused Labour of playing political football with the NHS after the party attacked his record on health. Prime Minister's questions blew up into a bitter row about A&E services. In football, it's now all but confirmed that Steven Gerrard will join LA Galaxy at the end of the current Premier League season. The Liverpool captain's quoted as saying, it's a match made in heaven. That's the latest. I'm Elizabeth Williams.